now going to introduce the interpolate node, which is a little bit more advanced. The interpolate node essentially calculates the intermediate values between an initial and target value over a set amount of time. This is commonly used in animation as it allows an object to be animated from A to B. We are going to be using it to animate some subtle background assets, which you can find in the Asset Manager in the Effect folder. Let's grab all of the assets except the one called Decoration, and then drag them into our scene. Now these assets already have quite a lot of transparency, so we're not going to worry too much about the sort index. The default value of 0 should be fine in this case. Now what we want to do with these assets is slowly rotate each of them at different speeds to create a pulsing effect. If we drag them over into the logic editor, we have them all ready to be animated. To do that, let's right click the logic graph and type interpolate, then hit return. Now you can see that this node has quite a lot of sockets, which I will go through one by one. The start socket here triggers the start of the interpolation. Because we want this to play from the start of the scene, let's connect the on-scene show event listener to this socket now. The next one is duration, which is also available as an attribute. This is the complete length of time in seconds it takes to get from the start value to the end value. For now, let's set this at 20. The interval time attribute is how often in seconds the value is updated. Let's aim for 25 frames per second, so that's 1 divided by 25, or 0.04. The next two attributes are from and to. These are the start and end values. Because we want to rotate a full 360 degrees, let's set these to 0 and 360. The next category of attributes relate to how the values are interpolated. The most common interpolation type is linear interpolation, which means that the values will be adjusted linearly over time. The other types, which include the word ease in their name, relate to whether the interpolation eases in, eases out, or eases both in and out. The words circular, cubic, etc. are all different strengths of easing, and if you look at a website called easings.net, many of these easing types are very well documented there. For our purpose, we are just going to be sticking with the linear interpolation type. The next option is the mode. This allows us to decide between three options: alternate, once, and repeat. We want this to repeat, so let's select repeat. We also have the option to specify the amount of times the interpolation should be repeated using the count attribute. But we want it to loop indefinitely, so let's enable the infinite toggle here. Now let's set it up so that we can multiply the rotation amount by adding a multiply node and then putting the interpolation value into its first input, and then setting the second input attribute to 2 for now. Then let's add a set rotation node as we did earlier, and then link the graphic called acceleration violet to the object ID, and then connect the output of the multiply node to the rotation. Now if we go back to the main window and hide the other acceleration graphics for now, and then press play, you should see a subtle background blur effect. So you can see the basic functionality of the interpolation node and how it affects the animation of these graphics. In the next video, we will be adding the same functionality to the other sprite by creating our own custom node using the functions feature.